G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a select Marksman rifle. This is a standalone bolt-action rifle with custom sounds and reload animations as well, and a fairly decent amount of customization along with it. So you can see the bullet down the barrel, so not a lot of Fallout weapons actually have hollow barrels, but yeah, don't do that in real life with real guns because that's dangerous. Anyway, so the reload animations here are kind of interesting because the magazine is actually mounted at the front here. Somehow the bullets from this magazine get transferred into this breech area here to be loaded in for firing, and I don't know how it does that. Also, this little jigger on the side here, that's the mag release. It's not like a bipod or something. That's actually the mag release, which we'll get to that as we get to that. But the reload animation is something that really it's not conventional, something you probably wouldn't have seen before, but that's what this thing looks like in its standard form. I've also got a standard hunting rifle here just for reference for when we get this thing fully modified. Now, for the receivers, you'll find that the hunting rifle and this have very similar setups. You can even have a 50 cal receiver upgrade on this to get 220 damage, which is not too bad. Calibrated powerful might be useful if you want to use this thing in VATS all the time and utilize crits, but we won't do that. We'll have the 50s for now, and we can utilize 3 different types of barrels for short or long variants. Long heavy ported barrel gives us the highest range and accuracy bonuses, so we'll throw that on. That makes it heavy, obviously, but that's not going to be a problem unless you've got low strength on a survival character or survival playthrough. You can completely saw off the stock if you want, have a full one, a lighter version, a tactical stock, or a tactical light stock, so we can reduce that weight down a little bit. Better aim with scopes leads me to believe that this is a Marksman stock, and it'll actually add the Marksman's prefix there at the start of the weapon. So there you go, it's just a Marksman stock. That means when you aim down the scope, it's not going to sway quite as much as it would normally. You can have a medium magazine or a version in pre-chambered, and a large magazine and a version of pre-chambered. This is like the anti-tactical reload, because logically you'd still have one in the chamber if you took the magazine out, but because it's Fallout 4, they don't do those sorts of things. You'll just empty the full cartridge unfired from this thing during a reload animation. But if you want an extra bullet for a slower reload time, then you can have a slightly different reload animation. For performance reasons, I think a larger magazine is quite enough on that. Now, right now I've got iron sights. You can have reflex sights, which are all custom assets, which are nice and open. I don't actually mind that design at all. There's also ones that look more conical. Cones? Yes, no, cylindrical. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. And you can also equip some scopes on this thing. The long scope is slightly bigger because it needs to emphasize the magnification. I think the medium scope here will be the best choice of action. It kind of looks like an SV98, just if you really squint your eyes. It's not an SV98, but I'm kind of getting SV98 vibes. Now, you can throw a suppressor on this. That gets us 275 damage, which I remind you is higher than the 241 damage we get out of a standard hunting rifle. So it's safe to say this is operating at a little bit of a more of an end game sort of level than a hunting rifle, which is nice, sort of mid game, because a Gauss rifle is going to smash this thing's damage and DPS, but we'll go with it. And you can change the accents, which is like the metal bits on your gun, including gold if you feel like it. Factory looks kind of nice. We'll go the factory finish, make it all nice and polished. And you also can have paints on this with an included add-on that has specific faction paints. Unfortunately, none of these apply to the current character. It's a shame they don't add something like Disciples, the Operators, and the Pack paints for these sorts of things. They always sort of overlook the raider gangs from Nuka World in the faction lineup, but you know, it'd be nice to see, or maybe if we see some of that sort of stuff in the future. But for now, we'll just go for a standard. The factory finish looks very clean, but I saw grey plastic there, which kind of makes it look like the polymer stock of the Rat Slayer, which I do quite appreciate. And I think that's everything. So there's a select 50 cal Marksman rifle. We'll create a couple more of these and then we'll start shooting stuff. Getting this thing is really easy. Just find Sell Mark Rifle in all caps on your chemistry workbench and you can craft them for 0 ranks in Gun Nut, but these resources Alright, so we'll be starting off at Neponset Park and sniping some crabs, moving on to some raiders, then over at Quincy, then finishing off with the super mutants over there. Should be a fun little journey to take out with our select Marksman rifle here, and this is what it looks like in third person. Now, I mentioned that reload animation. Feast your eyes. That's what it looks like. I'm not sure if that's based on anything or whether that's just a thing that Nahir come up with, because it's certainly creative if it's the latter. Now, we'll go ahead and see if we can find anything, because we've got bolt action. It's suppressed, so we get a ton of extra damage, and it looks like we can take out these little lurks in a shot. That's 1,000 damage to the head, so we'll have no problems doing a whole lot of damage very quickly with this thing, provided we get the shots on. And stop twitching, will ya? Okay, sweet, it died. I didn't think I killed it for a second, because the game went into slow motion. It was still standing. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to go for a follow-up shot. So yeah, so far so good. Next one to go down is this lobster. We'll take him in the legs because his shell is nice and armored. His legs are not, even though you'd think it wouldn't do that much damage, because, well, I don't know, maybe lobsters in the post-apocalypse store all their vital organs in their legs. Same with my alert queens, but so far so good. We'll continue sniping. Now, I haven't had to go, or I haven't been able to have much success going on this particular route, because I've had a lot of crashing issues, but I think I've discovered which mod did that. It was a bundle of tape, the weapon mod with all of the tape things. The blue tape. Any mod with the blue tape, it just crashes the game. Don't download them, or at least get the latest update for bundle of tape. Make sure it doesn't crash on you. Anyways, I should probably switch over to something different now, because I did, would you believe, grab other variants of this. This one here has no suppressor, so we're going to be losing damage, but it's also got this sick camo, which is, I don't know, it reminds me of an AWP right now, probably because it's got snow camo, and that's probably the only reason why. Unfortunately, getting triple collateral headshots is not a thing that I have installed, but that would have been awesome. I would like to think that that went through them all, and then, I don't know, they suddenly gave birth to other gunners, but there was a reason why I was using a suppressor before, and there's the one in the chamber reload animation. And if I want to reload this thing, there goes that full cartridge outside of the chamber, as I totally Benny Hill these guys. Where's your gun, buddy? You didn't happen to have a blue tape gun, did ya? Anyways, regardless of that, I'll try to show the bashing animation since we're in close range. Give them the old hunting rifle shuffle, where you, instead of cranking the weapon, well, we're just filled with melee weapons today, aren't we? Yes, instead of cranking the bolt, you can just bash them and you'll keep the DPS train rolling a little bit further. But now we're being shot at from multiple things, so we'll grab our calibrated powerful and we'll start using VATS a little bit. This one has blue and gold paint, which is kind of like the Tricentennial paint. We'll go for a critical here. Should finish her. Yeah, nice. Down you go. Cheeky little Grim Reaper sprint proc. Not that we need to use the critical here, but, you know, well, it was an option. And now everyone's around. That's only a little baby gunner. We'll take him out nice and fast. And we'll go for a few shots here. I've got this one tuned to be fairly efficient on its AP usage. I think one more crit will do him in. And that guy up there, I think he's got some sort of Fallout 76 port. And did I just witness a crit miss? There's the reload animation in third person, by the way. It does it with one eye closed, just to show how good she is, I suppose. I feel like you should be dead. No commentary needed. That was sick. I love cinematic VATS. Okay, we can stop now. So, if we wanted to snipe a little bit with this thing, probably should go back into sneak mode just to get those crits back. Although I could just target the fusion core from that sucker, make them step outside of their power armor. Also, there are way more gunners here than what I'm used to usually seeing here. Unfortunately, it's a bolt action rifle. Its DPS is not going to be super impressive, especially against Brigadiers, which are your top tier, not level scaling, but they may as well be gunners. I wouldn't be surprised if this Sheila attacking me with the baton had more health than a super mutant behemoth, because they don't scale up. More health than a Mirelurk Queen, and okay, I need to stop. Just crit, just finish her. I'm tired of having her dancing around. Oh, she ran out of missiles. That's why she was poking me with a stick. Fair enough. All right, let's switch tactics a little bit. Let's begin loud and proud mode again, which I believe the sounds that they use for this variant here, that's just, well, it sounds like the hunting rifle with 50 cal, but altered just slightly. And let's get you to step out of your power armor there, buddy. You can tell that you're doing damage because it'll do that little effect. If you cripple that, it'll start its self-destruct sequence, and then he'll be forced to jump right out. I actually heard the fusion core shut down. Actually, no, it blew up with him inside. Now he's fine. Okay, he shouldn't be allowed to move, though. Oh, there he goes. Well, you would get tired out sometime wearing a giant suit like that. And, you know, I thought in my mind that, yep, that's a flashbang. I should be worried about that, but, not again. Okay, sweet. Let's just VATS them. That's the most efficient way to run this. 90 damage. There we go. That's really fast. Okay, you just crank this thing like no tomorrow when you use this thing in VATS, apparently. That's fairly useful. Anyways, Mr. 50 cal machine gun is outside of his armor now. It's just terrible DPS slugging match here. Just give me a minute, mate. I gotta reload. Thank you. So, yeah, on a very high difficulty, this thing kind of not hacking it in terms of its ability for endgame shooting. It's certainly no Rat Slayer, that's for sure. Ain't gonna be punching above its weight. It's gonna stay in its weight class, and it'll remain there. Otherwise, it'll just get laughed at by these gunners who are, you know, they'd be giggling at me if I was being killed, but that's fine. Curiously, that was doing more damage to that guy, I guess. Well, I don't know what that reason was, but I was doing less damage against the guy who I forced out of power armor than that guy. This legendary gunner might be an interesting little thing. See if we can kill him without depleting our AP, but I'm going to go for a critical here to finish him off. Okay, we got it done. And with maybe like 30 to 40 action points to spare, that's not too bad. But yeah, full house here at Gunner Not HQ. I don't have a mod to alter these gun spawns, so whatever it was, maybe there was just like a random patrol going through there. I've never seen it so filled up before. I'm trying to think of whether a mod would have altered the spawns here. Also, sometimes it's easier to press the off switch, and when it comes to robots like this, and off you go. Still cloaked though, but we can go ahead and shoot this thing, finish it without the gunners being able to turn it back on again. Not like they could anyway, but I feel like a threat like that ought to be neutralized sooner rather than later. I think there's a little turret in here somewhere. It's the most bizarre turret placement because that's got literally zero line of sight on anything important. Unless they wanted to cover that alley there because, I don't know, some raiders were sneaking through their joint and like, taking all of the things. Probably not. They'd require stealth boys to do that. Anyway, that's Nerd Rage active and Destroy Overcadia as well. I feel like that was a nuka grenade because whatever that detonation was, that was pretty intense. Now, I think the last gunner is somewhere. Just gotta track them down one by one. It's probably to my advantage that they're not all taking me on at once because... Oh. Never mind. We're all specking into melee builds at Quincy today, and I don't think it worked. Even a bolt-action rifle was able to clean them all out. So, against Super Mutant Warlords, we'll go back to the tried-and-true method of sniping with a long-barreled suppressed version, and we'll see how that goes. Not all of these guys will be Super Mutant Warlords, but I'm guessing we'll find a few Nightkin around. That's a massive whirlybird. Yep, the Nightkin are around. Wouldn't mind getting their attention, because we'll have that little red bar appear above their head if they're aggroed, which is cheating, but... Or maybe it didn't, because that thing was aggroed and I couldn't see it. But it's nice to have. See, I'm playing a very small screen. I feel like I went blind for some time because I just rely on seeing the red on the screen to figure out where enemies are. Then I played an actual FPS game where you couldn't do that, and I don't know what I hit. Okay, looks like we're in Lobbyville. That appears to be like a Nightkin. In fact, everyone's a Nightkin. That's annoying. I won't be able to VATS them. And nor I won't be able to see them. Completely blind. Alright. So, we'll just ignore that guy's trash talking and we'll shoot this guy in the head over and over. He gives his chest a beat and says, yes, come on, give me more, he says, and we'll oblige. Too much for ya. Now your head's gone and you dropped me a rapid 10mm pistol. Now, as far as I'm aware, their cloak doesn't go away, so I'm going to be shooting at this tanky, invisible bastard for ages. Back in New Vegas, these guys would uncloak as they got close to expose themselves because it's a video game and, like, that's what happens. Like, the enemies usually expose themselves just for a little bit of fairness. They'll sneak up to you cloaked, but the super sledge will be swung uncloaked. You can see them. It's a nice jump scare if you're not really paying attention, but generally the game gives it away anyway, right? But now we're just fighting the invisible giant blue man, which is not good. I might see if there's a variant of the Capital Wasteland super mutant that doesn't have Nightkin. I feel like a giant man like that wouldn't be sneaky enough to utilize good stealth, boys. I don't know what the master was on about when he made the Nightkin up, but... Alright, so we're done. Also, classic holstered weapons. It looks absolutely brilliant as an apparel piece as well as a weapon. It's a very good-looking weapon. I feel like in terms of its balance, it's not really at the level that I'm trying to use it, but, you know, we've got a lot of health. We're managing for now, but... we'll go and shoot a monster and then we'll call it a video. Okay, just a couple of raiders to cut through. This time how'd I miss? Pretty sure my aim was true just then, but anyways, we'll keep going. He dropped an SVD, that particular power armor dude, so good on him. And I haven't used this thing in stealth nearly as much as I should because, you know, I've been talking about how the DPS is not all that flash, but, you know, it's got a lot of damage, which means the multipliers that you can get from landing successful sneak attacks is going to sort of make up for that. You can't really use hunting rifles or bolt action rifles in general like I was before unless you've got a lot of health to utilize or facing gunners with a bunch of melee weapons. I'm pretty sure that would have been a shot that hit as well because his head was right there, but you know, there's Obsidian New Vegas hitboxes getting into my Fallout 4 and I'm missing shots that I should easily hit. Maybe there's a little bit more spread on this thing than your standard vanilla gun, which is really not that high, but at least the hipfire is good, you know? Okay, so whatever it is, the raiders have been aggroed by something across the street, and damn. This is the equivalent of like Batman, but he uses, instead of punching people, he just uses a a bolt action rifle instead. Really doesn't have the same ring to it. But anyways, there's a Mirelurk Queen. We should be able to dispatch that thing fairly easily, don't you think? It's attacking the raiders. Don't think it was in open combat yet. It's got showered in acid. That's not good. And also, that raider said dibs on the loot on the Mirelurk Queen. I wouldn't stand near it. Still probably burning and leaking acid. But we'll ignore that guy. We've shot enough humans. Let's shoot something a little bit more scary. Now, I was thinking, yep, it'd be nice if we got a sniper proc here. And that's exactly what we got up first. But to do damage, we're going to have to hit this bastard in the head. So we're going to line up a bunch of VAT shots, and then we'll do that. There we go. The amount of DPS difference you get when you utilize this thing with VATs is, it's kind of insane. It just fires so much faster. And once we've got a full AP bar, we're going to go for many critical strikes against this guy. Probably the first couple will be criticals just to get concentrated fire ready to go and zeroed in. Just over 1,000 damage for those shots consecutively. As a reminder, this one is utilizing the calibrated powerful receiver, and just like standard bolt action rifles, sometimes the character will just forget to reload. We'll give her a pass because she's blonde, and you know that joke, oh, blonde women are dumb. Next, we're going to shoot this guy in the face. Now, it should be nice and close. I don't think we were getting that much in the way of range penalties before, but whatever those last 4 shots in that magazine were, they were doing a lot more damage than what you'd expect. And our AP is pretty much back already, so we'll just keep going. And Mysterious Stranger might show up to do about 9,000 damage. Sometimes the Mysterious Stranger can distract enemies, which I think he did just now. He actually went to attack the Mysterious Stranger here, but didn't. Now we could probably hope for a cheeky little proc of Nerd Rage here, should he hit us a few times, but I'm confident that I might just be able to duck and weave out of his way, and I'm just gonna get the critical loaded to remind you to reload. Didn't have to worry about that bug in Fallout 76. Actually, we were slipping out of danger just then. That's interesting. A couple more hits like that, I'll be ready to go into Nerd Rage, mate, and you're not gonna like me when I'm angry. But regardless, if we managed to sneak the whole time, this fight would have been over 30 seconds ago. So I feel like this thing can do a good job if you're stealthy. Kind of like the hunting rifle, it will serve you well as long as you're patient, but I am not. I've got video time. That's Nerd Rage, please. Yes. Had to activate it manually there by pausing the game because it doesn't do that automatically anymore, but we made it. In the end, we made it. Also, we absolutely launched that casing that we we launched that casing out of the thing. I think we were going into slow motion or ending slow motion as soon as that reload animation stopped, and it sort of flung the shell up into the sky. Anyways, that there, select Marksman rifle, highly recommend it. It's good fun. If you've got a hunting rifle but the damage isn't quite doing it for you, you want something with a little bit more different taste. I reckon this is a little bit more classy than a standard hunting rifle, then highly recommend it. But if you're going for an endgame sniper type weapon, then this is probably not going to be your cup of tea. And with that, thank you very much for watching. See you later. Bye.